The grey squirrel has chased the barn owl out of the nest, who stares at it on the perch. The barn owl makes warning sounds. But the squirrel is not afraid of him. The squirrel considers the nest to be its own, and starts bringing in nesting material. The barn owl returns, but instead of going into the nest, it perches on the perch and watches. But he is not sure in case the squirrel returns and leaves. Later the squirrel returns with more material for the nest. The leaves have been removed to discourage the squirrel. But the squirrel insists again. The barn owl returns as it does every morning, but stays watching the nest. A squirrel bite is unpleasant. It could pierce through the bones of birds, raptors, and owls. Hence they don't bother to fight for the box, except in rare cases, because it is not worth the risk of fatal injury. After almost 20 minutes of observation, decides not to risk it and leaves. The next morning he returns to check the nest. The weather is bad and it seems that the squirrel has not returned. Unfortunately, squirrels are an invasive species that was introduced here. It is very common for them to take over nests. A goshawk might be the only bird of prey capable of hunting a squirrel, but that would be unusual. Measures are currently being taken to gradually eradicate grey squirrels, but veterinarians cannot legally treat them at the moment. The barn owl is still alert and jumps to the entrance at the slightest noise. For the time being, he returns to his corner, trusting that the annoying squirrel will not return. I also hope that he does not return and that we can continue to observe this wonderful male barn owl.